You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on ngscsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
It's like I can put weight on it now and kind of walk, but I still have to like shuffle everywhere I go. If I don't have the walking boot on, I have to like shuffle everywhere I go.
Oh, that sucks.
So tonight, for the first time ever, I'm coming to you from the bedroom because this is kind of where I've like set up my base camp. It's like I literally walk into the house from my garage. My bedroom is 2 steps in front of the door that goes into the garage. My kitchen is just to the right, and I have a bathroom.
Perfect.
I like don't go into the living. I haven't been like to the front of my house in like a week. I'm sorry. I will go to my back door to let the dogs out. That's it, and that's like an extra 10 steps. So this sucks, man. I mean, I feel like everything other than that, I feel amazing. I mean, I've lost like 130 pounds. I mean, since you see me, next time you see me, you'll be like, Jesus Christ, dude, eat a sandwich. So, I mean, it's like, I've lost like all this weight. My knees feel great. My back feels great. My shoulders feel great. My neck feels great. All this shit that always hurt in the past. Like, I don't snore nearly as bad as I used to. All these great things. And then I've got a fucked up right and left ankle because I exercised.
Oh, what has exercising done for anyone?
Damn it! I mean, Fat Ronaldo was still good after he was fat. Why couldn't I just be him?
It's true. Oh, one day.
God, I tell you, poor Cristiano. He must be in constant pain to look that good.
We'll talk about Cristiano on today's edition of the Foreign Affair Podcast. Oh God. Good times. Good times. Welcome to the Foreign Affair Podcast, episode 216. I am Edward Green, rejoined as always by my in crime.
And that means we're 100 episodes away from 316.
Stone Cold said so.
I will be drunk for that episode.
Excellent.
100 episodes, 2 years beforehand, I will be drunk for that episode.
Very excited. We obviously have a lot of...
Should be right in the middle of the Euros.
There you go. Hey, maybe you'll be celebrating.
Oh, hell yeah.
We got a lot to talk about from the World Cup. We'll hit a few transfer news and notes. Not much big happening unless you're an Arsenal fan, I guess.
Sure.
We'll hit the Watch 4, So Raw, and wrap it up. As always, the podcast presented by NGSC Sports at ngscsports.com. We never stop, and certainly the soccer does not stop. We're just going to start going group by mother effing group here in the World Cup.
Real quick though, Ed, also tonight we are live watching a College World Series elimination game.
Oh.
Oregon State and, well, I was going to say your North Carolina Tar Heels. You actually hate Carolina baseball, so
yes,
that works well. They are playing in Omaha. It is 3-3 in the bottom of the fifth with the Tar Heels hitting a man on no outs. So, folks, we'll keep you updated.
Oh, and crazy shit happens when we have live baseball games on. So.
You're not kidding. Crazy shit always seems to happen when we do live baseball.
This will be great. Crazy shit happened in the World Cup, too. And let's get to that.
Damn right.
Group A. Russia, as we all knew, is now the best team in the World Cup. With 2 big wins on the slate. They pound Saudi Arabia in their opener, 5-0. Saudi Arabia looks really, really, really bad. Can't wait till they expand to 48 teams, guys. So they have they got out to a hard start. And then Uruguay versus Egypt. Egypt tried to get by without playing their talisman, Mohamed Salah. But unfortunately, Jose Maria Jimenez scored a very, very late goal for Uruguay to get Uruguay all 3 points, and that was huge to get them started. Again, this is a team that I believe we picked to actually make the semifinals of this tournament. So a big win for Uruguay when maybe they weren't at their best. And then they had to kind of lame it out today as well against Saudi Arabia. 1-0 the victory. Luis Suarez taking a cross on a corner into the box, just left completely unmarked near the far post and tapped it right in to give Uruguay the 1-0 win. Again, Uruguay just needs to get a little bit more into form, but they do have 6 points, as does Russia. 3-1 win against Egypt. They beat Mo Salah's team. Salah does score on a 73rd minute penalty, but the game was already 3-0 by then. Russia just really starting to pound people. Again, this is one of the weakest groups in World Cup history, but Russia is currently 8 goals to the good and 1 goal to the bad. So
how about those FIFA World Rankings?
Oh, so good.
Told you folks, you cannot trust FIFA World Rankings.
Apparently not.
Russia has totally taken that big boost from being at home. They've been fantastic.
They really have, and it's been quite loud. Even though we'll say Egypt brought it in the Russia-Egypt game, that crowd was very good from them as well, but Russia has been very strong. But what that means for the Group West is that Russia and Uruguay both sit on 6 points. Egypt and Saudi Arabia both sit on 0, which means the group is over for who's advancing. However, on June 25th, Uruguay and Russia meet up. The winner of the match goes through as group winner and will probably avoid Spain. We don't know yet. We'll see. But they will go through as the group winner. Russia, because of their amazing goal differential so far, thanks to beating Saudi Arabia so badly, if the Russia and Uruguay draw, Russia will go through as the group winner on goal differential. So Uruguay must win to finish top of the group. And Wes, while that was our prediction, as you said, Russia has benefited from being at home in front of these 75,000 plus crowds.
No, they certainly have. And, we talked about it. I think we may have overlooked it a little bit, the only host nation ever to not advance out of the group stage was South Africa, which I think is noticeably the weakest host nation of all time until 2022 when we go to Qatar.
Yeah.
So, this shouldn't come as that big of a surprise. Now, that said, the Russians came in. They weren't playing particularly good football. As we mentioned and mocked a little bit earlier, the FIFA World Rankings, they were the lowest team in the FIFA World Rankings, even though this is a FIFA World Rankings that had England at like third 3 years ago under Roy Hodgson. So, it's nice when you're beating the Maldives, convincingly. I don't even know if that's a country, but anyway. It might be a salad as well, as far as I know. But the Russians have come out. They were ready. And, they've got some guys who are not bad. I believe it's Golovin.
Yes.
Who scored the first goal, I believe, of the tournament. He's a Juventus target right now. Denis Cheryshev, who now has 3 goals through 2 matches, has him second in the Golden Boot race. He doesn't play very often, but he plays for Real Madrid. They've got a couple of guys who can do some things. They've got a lot of players who have played in the Champions League, obviously with CSKA Moscow, Zenit, clubs like that. These are guys who have some experience on this big stage, where I think they were really underestimated when you look at the likes of Saudi Arabia. Who the hell does Saudi Arabia have?
Nobody.
Who plays for anyone?
We do.
Egypt, yes, Egypt has Mo Salah, but it's a Mo Salah coming off a very devastating injury that's kept him from being anywhere near 100%. Yeah, they've got Mohamed El Neni, who has cut his teeth under Arsene Wenger, if that tells you anything about his level. They have a couple other guys who've been in the Premier League and play in some places. But, this isn't an overly dominantly talented, Egypt squad. So while Russia has looked really good, 8-1 over 2 matches, no one else has come close to that. They have also done it against definitely maybe the weakest team in the tournament, which is Saudi Arabia.
Yes, they are bad.
And an Egypt team that is, while not a great team to start with, they're a team that were also missing their best player.
Correct.
And even when they got him back, he wasn't 100%. As North Carolina takes a 4-3 lead. And Heimlich looks like he's choking out on the mound again. But I think we're really going to find something out about this Russian team on the 25th, because Uruguay is going to be the first quality squad that they faced. And Uruguay is a team that, even though they don't seem to have gotten off to a hot start, remember, yes, everyone talks about Suarez and Cavani. This is a team that is built on their defense. And they have not disappointed there one bit.
No, not at all.
So we're gonna really see something in that next match, in match day 3, to see who advances as the winner out of Group A. But I'm actually, I'm kind of excited to get a chance to watch that, because, man, I'm excited to see this Russian team and just see, are they? I mean, when I say are they for real, I'm not talking about their Brazil or Germany here, but are they for real? Will they give somebody an issue in the round of 16?
Absolutely, and depending on who comes out of Group B, that's still very much up in the air. They could have a chance. You never know with this Russia team. So I agree with you. I think that when we see them play Uruguay on June 25th, that is going to tell us a lot about how actually good this Russia team is. They do have some talent. They are better than I think I thought they were, and I think a lot of people thought they were. Now, will it get them to the round of 8, the semifinals? That's still to be seen. But if they can beat Uruguay, that would be a tremendous boost of confidence for this club. Absolutely. And I think that at that point, you'd have to start really taking them seriously as a threat to start going deep in this tournament, especially once again with that home crowd behind them.
And of course, at that point, they're kind of, as much as the Russians can ever be, they might be the darlings of the tournament at that point.
True. We separated geopolitical discussions.
Jesus God.
So now we go.
No one's ever called the Russians the sweethearts of anything.
Separating geopolitical discussions as we began talking about Iran in Group B.
Jesus God.
I will say this. So after everybody had played their first round of matches, Bleacher Report sent out a notification. You may have gotten this, where they said we re-rank or adjust rankings of the 32 teams in the World Cup based off of their first round of matches. And I clicked on it and I saw Spain was number 1 and Portugal was number 2. And I was like, wait, really? Spain made countless errors against Portugal in their first match. And Portugal, their hallmark in their Euros was defending. And they obviously didn't do that against Spain. So how are you saying these are the 2 best teams in the tournament? Obviously the best team is... And then my brain just kind of trailed off and never came up with an answer. And I think
Russia.
Maybe. But I think that's indicative of how, at least through the first set of matches and partway through the second, this is all gone. Is nobody's really jumped out yet as being and really taking the tournament by the scruff of the neck, except maybe Russia. But we have 2.
And in a personal note, maybe Ronaldo.
Yes, true. He's the only one who's scored for Portugal in their first 2 matches. The first of which came against Spain, as I mentioned last time in the pod. One of the highlights of the first round of matches. Portugal-Spain did not disappoint. 3-3 was the result. Right. Ronaldo had maybe the most bizarre hat trick he's ever had in his life. A 4th-minute penalty, maybe a little soft. In the 44th minute, he made David De Gea feel like Lars Karius, and then in the 88th, he didn't get to do it in the Champions League final, so obviously he had to do it here, because that's what Ronaldo does. He sees something and he wants to do it himself. And then in the 88th minute, he drew Portugal level with a free kick that De Gea didn't really do a good job of setting up against, and also Piqué did a very poor job of giving away the free kick. But anyway,
but also Ronaldo. No, we'll talk more about Ronaldo in a minute. Go ahead.
That's fine. But also Diego Costa was in the match. Diego Costa hit a brace, and then Nacho actually put Spain up 3-2 just about an hour in. It looked like Spain was going to get the win until that last Ronaldo free kick. So they end 3-3. And then Iran versus Morocco went down to the death as Aziz Bouhadouz, with the 95th minute own goal, put his team down 1-0 and gave Iran all 3 points. And that is a big 3 points because they still do have a chance after the second round of matches. They did lose to Spain. Diego Costa, again on the score sheet in the 54th minute, gives Spain a 1-0 winner in a somewhat drab affair. And speaking of drab affairs, Portugal and Morocco is more the same. Ronaldo did score again in the 4th minute. Also may have kind of sort of dove and kind of got away with it. So neither team, while they played an exciting game against each other, neither team has been super convincing out of the gate either. So right now, to overlay the group, Spain and Portugal both on 4 points. Iran is at 3. Morocco's at 0. They are eliminated. Iran now plays Portugal on June 25th. If they win, Iran will go through to the knockout stage. If they do not win, they are out. Spain, they play Morocco. They should win, and that would secure their passage through. But Wes, this is Spain and Portugal at the top of the group, just like we thought, but maybe not as confidently as we thought they would be.
No, Spain, I'm going to tell you, man, I didn't get a chance to watch the Spain because I was working, saving lives, being awesome. From everything I heard, Spain were somewhat fortunate to come away with that goal that they got. Now, of course, they completely dominated possession. I believe at halftime, Iran had only completed maybe 44 total passes in the entire first half. But yeah, only completing 44 passes in the first half was the lowest number of passes completed in a half of this World Cup, and also the second lowest all time of a half, which the lowest actually belongs to another Iranian team, coincidentally. In this one, Iran did not manage a shot on target. I mean, Spain dominated possession. The possession was crazy. Spain had 78% possession. I mean, they completely dominated the match, but their goal comes off a deflection that comes off Diego Costa. So for Spain, you know, I give Iran credit. They came out and they did what they wanted to do, which they knew they were going to soak up pressure. And their whole goal was just to try to get a counter or get a set piece and try to make something go in, kind of like they did against Morocco. But I think there's definitely got to be some red flags coming up from Spain. You know, yes, in the first match against Portugal, they scored 3 goals, but in that one they were uncharacteristically poor defensively, and especially in the goalkeeper position. Yeah. And in this match, yeah, you can say, yeah, they were good defensively, but that's just because for Spain, the best defense is not to let the other team touch the ball. So, you know, it's not like De Gea was able to redeem himself today. Yeah, he got a clean sheet. He also didn't face a shot on goal all day. So, you know, for Spain, I think that they shouldn't have a problem going through. But, you know, is the firing of Lopetegui, is that coming back maybe to mess with this team some? Are we seeing some of those cracks? And will it ultimately derail what could have been a fantastic run for the Spanish?
Certainly, it is very odd, especially as we mentioned last week, the timing of that just coming just days before the Portugal-Spain match, and you know, I do think that has something to do with it. They just look unsettled, really, in their first 2 matches. And again, as you said, they're probably going to go through. They have Morocco in the 3rd match. They should be able to beat them. If they go through and they win by more goals than Portugal does, they'll go through as group winners, and they'll get the loser of Russia-Uruguay. So if they get Russia or Uruguay, well, now all of a sudden, Uruguay very tough defensively and does have scorers. On the other hand, you have Russia, who has proven to actually be a threat in this tournament.
They could just be the hot team.
Yeah. So, and either way, all of a sudden, what looked like a somewhat easy road at least to the semifinals maybe for Spain, now looks a bit more uncertain. And I think somewhat the same for Portugal. Granted, we didn't have maybe as high as hopes as we did for them, as we did for Spain, but these are also the defending Euro 2016 champions. They haven't looked, literally, apart from Ronaldo, they have not looked very good at all. So this is...
Ronaldo and maybe Rui Patricio against Morocco, he was fantastic.
But the rest of the supporting cast that was so resolute in their march to the Euro 2016 final, it's just they're coming up so short. And we did talk a little bit about the age of some of these guys and how they are a very veteran team, we'll say. But still, this is worrying, I think, for both Portugal and Spain. Yes, they're both likely to go through, but I don't think either team should be exactly brimming with confidence when they make it to the round of 16.
And, just to touch on Portugal for a bit, there are external things going on around this Portugal squad right now. You've got, I believe it's 4 players in this team, Patricio, Carvalho, not Mertens. I can't remember. He's a winger for him. I don't think he's played that much. And Bruno Fernandes are all 4 members of that Sporting team. Mm-hmm. And I believe all 4 of them have filed to be released from their contracts due to all the issues going around Sporting. We touched on that a few months ago when it was really blowing up. Mm-hmm. So, they've got that going on as well. But, man, I've got to praise the guy who we do not personally like on this show. I mean, what can you say about Cristiano Ronaldo right now?
He's dragging their corpse over the finish line.
And the scary thing is, he's not the Ronaldo of, really of even the Euros 2 years ago, or much less the World Cup of a few years ago, where he was the dynamic, playmaking, guy who would take you on the wing and just, destroy your life and leave you on YouTube somewhere. He's not that guy anymore. Cristiano Ronaldo, in front of our eyes, has morphed into a fox-in-the-box center forward who, for however you want to put it or however you want to say about him, Cristiano Ronaldo just knows how the hell to put the ball in the back of the goal. Mm-hmm. And I think that we could be seeing with Portugal this summer, I don't think it would be the worst idea ever for Lopetegui going into Real Madrid if they want to move Karim Benzema. You don't have to go get a Harry Kane because you might have the most prolific center forward in the world right there on your roster. Mm-hmm. And it might be Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, all we've seen from him in this tournament is Ronaldo in the box and putting people under massive pressure and scoring goals.
Yeah, and just real quick to finish that off, last time at the last World Cup in Brazil, he was coming off an injury, and he was in also that Portugal were in the group of death with the United States, Germany, and Ghana, and he did not look like himself at all. And still managed in their second game against the United States to get the assist at the last minute to pull them level at 2-2. It did not get them through, but again, this is a Ronaldo who was definitely not healthy at the last World Cup. So this is a chance for him a little more healthy, maybe not as prolific in being 4 years older, but in a different sort of way, just like you were saying, making his mark on this tournament so far. As you said,
and he's
leading.
His evolution has been just crazy. And you saw it on that free kick. That wasn't a normal Ronaldo free kick. Mm-hmm. He's even changing up the way that he's doing free kicks and things. I think Ronaldo is evolving into, God, I hate to say it because I really don't like him. I think he's such a smart player. I mean, his footballing intelligence, I think, is maybe next to none. He knows where to be. He knows how to get there. He knows how to drag people around. Oh my God, he's fantastic. I hate to say it. Jesus God, that bone structure.
Wes, he's no Harry Kane. We'll get to him later, though.
Don't forget it. He also does not have noodle hair.
That's true.
hair is flawless.
Oh, Group C has not been flawless for some teams. Just one match from this group onwards now from the time of our recording. France, another one of those clubs, kind of struggling a little bit, and a theme we'll kind of get to later. One of those clubs that's always up for a little mental boom. But not yet. Griezmann does get the penalty for France, somewhat controversially. I believe it was the first VAR awarded penalty of the tournament. But then just moments later, Australia picked up a penalty of their own, which Malaysia Nak put in to level at a 1-1 for Australia. But then another own goal, Aziz Behich for Australia put it into his own net to give France I don't even know if deserved 2-1 win is right. They do get the 3 points. They do sit atop the group. But they are tied right now with Denmark, who absorbed a ton of Peruvian pressure, but did get the win. Yusuf Urari Poulsen with the goal. Christian Eriksen with the assist, as he did so many times for Tottenham. And as I mentioned for you, maybe a bit of a coming out party on the world stage for Christian Eriksen if Denmark can keep pushing along. But Denmark gets the win. France gets the win. And, these are two teams who we thought would kind of be top of the group. Maybe Peru could join them up there. And Denmark is going to have to play Australia in their next match. France gets Peru. But Wes, again, continuing the theme, France, they looked all right. Again, for a team as supremely talented as France is, they didn't inspire me to think like, that's the team that's going to win.
Just throw this out real quick. It a 2-run homer for the Tar Heels.
Oh, snap.
As they have pushed their lead out to 6-3, hit a foul pole. What a
fair pole.
France was really disappointing. And
they usually are, but not this early.
Unless they want to be super disappointing.
Yeah.
Pogba, I think they tried to give Pogba that goal.
Mm-hmm.
But that wasn't, it was an own goal. Pogba did a good job, I think, to get the ball there, but it was still an own goal. France just looked really underwhelming. It was almost like Griezmann. Now, Griezmann, my God, you want to talk about somebody doing some shit. Griezmann channels his inner LeBron James.
Yeah.
And decides 2 days before the damn tournament that he's going to, do this LeBron-style decision.
Yeah. El Decision.
Yeah, La Decision. Yeah, will he go to Barcelona or will he stay? But then, unlike LeBron, Ed, he stayed. But the thing is, LeBron didn't do it 2 days before the biggest tournament of his life either. France just looked really distracted.
Yeah.
And it started with those superstars. Griezmann looked distracted. Pogba Jesus. Pogba's a massive ball of potential that I don't think anyone since he was at Juventus has figured out how to get it out of him.
Mm-hmm.
And, Pogba's just one. He runs around and he will, for 3 minutes, he'll look like, oh my God, this guy's the second coming. And then for 30 minutes, he'll be like, oh, wait, where the hell's Pogba? That's kind of how he was in this match. And they held pretty well toward the back. I think their defense is actually pretty darn good. But France they just look disinterested to even be there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a good sign to start the tournament. Now, luckily, they looked like that and came out with 3 points. But, if they play like that against Peru or they play like that against Denmark, I think there's a chance they get beat. And I think if this team suffers a loss, we could see them go into their little shit mode.
Yeah, and that's definitely possible. Again, Peru played really well against Denmark, but just couldn't finish in the final third. As I just quickly look at the stats here, in their match against Denmark, Peru put up 18 shots, 6 on target, and just could not find the back of the net. A standout job by Kasper Schmeichel in goal for Denmark, the Leicester City keeper, coming up strong. And there's another Premier League keeper in Hugo Lloris for France. But if Peru gets that many chances, who's to say one of those don't trickle in? Who's to say one of those don't get redirected in? Crazy shit happens. So I don't know. I completely agree with you. I don't know that France can play the way they did against Australia and beat Peru. I don't think they can.
I don't think they can. I think they were lucky that their first game was against the weakest team in their group.
Certainly.
And, like I said, Peru or Denmark, I think if they come out like that, they've got a chance they're going to get it. And once again, we've talked about the mentality of this French team before. I think they're obviously not turning on Deschamps. Don't get me there, Deschamps, but Deschamps is one of those. He's a conservative type manager.
Mm-hmm.
He's not one of those. Hey, let's go for it. Let's go out there and just play beautiful football.
Mm-hmm.
He's almost Josie-ish in a way,
mm-hmm.
where it's like Deschamps is one who can almost hold back his best players, and. I'm going to tell you, he's taken a lot of grief from that first match from the media. He's taken a big hit. People say, his tactics were shit. That that combined with the fact that France didn't look like they even cared to be there, that they are extremely lucky to come out with 3 points in that first match. Once again, I just think if they lose, things could go sour quick.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, 2 tough matches for France coming up against Peru on June 21st and then Denmark on June 26th. As we head...
So when you're listening to this show, folks, you should... I believe you'll know what happened with France.
Yes, you'll know if they've gone mental boom yet or not.
You'll know that Mesut Ozil and choke each other out at halftime.
Hopefully. And on to Group D, which... I would say there's a surprise atop the group, but considering I think in our previews we said any team could win this group, can't really be called a surprise then. Croatia does get a weird but deserved 2-0 win over Nigeria. An own goal coming from Ogenekro Etobo, as well as a Luka Modric penalty was enough for Croatia to get the 3 points. Argentina plays Iceland. The Kun Aguero strikes in the 19th minute to make it 1-0, but just 4 minutes later, Iceland counters, and Alfredo Finnbogason comes up with Iceland's biggest goal ever. I believe their first World Cup goal, and it gets them level with Argentina, and that's how the match ends. Messi did have a penalty, I believe. Yes, he had a missed penalty in the match.
That was 63rd minute, I think.
Yes, that could have given Argentina all 3 points, but it was saved by the Iceland keeper. So Argentina just gets 1 point, and now they have to go play Croatia. And if they don't get all 3 points against them, all of a sudden the chances of Argentina going through starts to look slimmer and slimmer, especially if Iceland also beats Nigeria, because then Croatia's at 6, Iceland's at 4, and Argentina's at 1. There's very little chance at that point for them to get through. So this is actually a near must-win already for Argentina.
And even that said, though, this is still a group where anything can happen.
Yeah.
Croatia deserved winners over Nigeria. Nigeria were lively.
Mm-hmm.
They just... Nigeria might be a tournament ahead for them.
I will say this too. I've been impressed, barring Saudi Arabia. I've been impressed with basically every African team at this tournament. Take that, Ivory Coast.
They've all shown something.
Yeah.
They've always shown a pulse.
Yes.
And Nigeria, Nigeria got kind of done over hard that they're in that group.
Yeah.
I'd say they might still come out. Who knows? But I think they could be a tournament away from really, really being maybe the most dangerous African team we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see how they grow. Croatia looked really good. Milinkovic-Savic, who could be on the move to England, could be on the move to Italy. He's been linked heavily with both Juventus and Manchester United. I'd much rather see him go to Juventus than Manchester United.
Of course.
But he was fantastic running the show the other day. I believe he had an assist. And, Croatia were definitely deserving winners. And through this, they look so far like the best team in that group, not only because they won, they just feel like they play the best football.
Yeah.
Argentina. Oh, Jesus Christ, what is there to say about Argentina? This team is loaded with talent, and for whatever reason, every one of them just completely defers to Messi.
Yeah.
And it's okay, Leo, you do it. Which I think the biggest difference, everyone wants to compare Messi and Ronaldo, obviously. I think Ronaldo, while I think the team around him is probably more limited than what Messi has, that team understands, hey, this is our goal scorer. We understand that part. Mm-hmm. But we've got to do all these other things to get him the ball and get him a chance. Argentina, on the other hand, just kind of seems like, okay, well, we got the ball in midfield. It's Lionel's turn to make something happen. and oh, man. And then when he goes out and misses the penalty, which immediately ends the entire debate. Obviously, Ronaldo's the greatest player ever now.
Obviously.
Because Messi missed a penalty in the World Cup, and Ronaldo would never do that. But at that point, I think right now there is so much pressure on Messi and Argentina.
Yeah.
Because they, luckily for them, and obviously we'll get in as we go through the groups, Brazil did what they did, Germany did what they did. I think that's the only thing that doesn't have every ounce of pressure in this entire tournament on Messi now. Mm-hmm. But, they've still got 2 really tough matches coming up. And if that team can't figure out some way to help Lionel Messi be the best Lionel Messi he can be, I know, we picked them to win the group. There is a legit chance they do not come out of this. And it would be a travesty on the pages of Messi's biography, I think, if they can't even get out of the group.
Yeah, because, again, this team is talented enough to do it, but they're just not. I think you're right. And, again, to bring up, LeBron James, I think there is a little bit of that syndrome that we sometimes see with James where it's hey, let's get the ball to him and he'll do something and hopefully that wins us the game. And it's that doesn't usually work. You also have to play defense and also have to be able to do stuff on your own. So I don't know. This Argentina team is very disappointing. Like France, I think they played their easiest game first. Maybe. Yeah. Croatia's obviously stronger than Iceland. And as you said, Nigeria, they're exciting, and they do have some, Premier League talent that we've seen, I believe John Obi Mikel, Victor Moses, guys like those are playing for this Nigeria squad. So there is talent out there on the pitch for them, and I don't think any of these teams are afraid of Argentina at this point. And again, just continuing the theme of the big names, that have come into this tournament. And so far, through, again, just one match, have been very disappointing. And we continue that theme with Group E. You mentioned it, Wes. Brazil, not the result they wanted in their first matchup against arguably maybe the toughest opponent they would face in their group, Switzerland. Sorry, Serbia. I think it's true. Count and ho, Philip Coutinho with a 20-minute goal. And at that point, you're like, Brazil's rolling. They're good.
Gorgeous goal, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. Just amazing stuff. Paulinho misses one. It's just Paulinho. It's fine. It's whatever. And then Switzerland in the 50th minute gets one back from Steven Zuber. And all of a sudden it's is Brazil actually okay? And then Neymar got gangbanged about 800 times during the match. So he's
brought it upon himself.
Yeah, he's like that sometimes. So tough going on. Obviously, there's been a lot of news coming out. How fit is he now? He came back from being injured to start the World Cup, and now it looks like he may not be quite at 100%. There's conflicting rumors on that. But that match did end. Brazil won, Switzerland won, so both teams get a point there. Meanwhile, Serbia, through Alexander Kolarov, the former Manchester City man, gets Serbia the 1-0 win with his 56th minute goal to beat Costa Rica. And quite frankly, it wasn't that close. As we'll get to with Mexico, aside from them, CONCACAF looks like trash. And Costa Rica. We talked about how Saudi Arabia is probably the worst team in this tournament. Costa Rica and Panama might be 2-3 under them. So they looked really, really bad. So Brazil has a chance to get back on the swing of things with their match against Costa Rica. Serbia then takes on Switzerland on June 22nd. But again, Wes, Brazil, they had the Demons 7-1 coming back to them. This was their redemption tour. This was going to be great. And then one goal has kind of changed the entire mood set.
It has, and there are arguments out there right now. Neymar is not 100%.
No.
Also, he hasn't played a match in like 3 or 4 months.
I think it was the Champions League match against Real Madrid.
Yeah. If we're going to sit here and say, well, Mo Salah wasn't 100%, and you could see some rust on him. God, that was a month ago.
Yeah.
That was less than a month ago. And you can see the rust on Neymar. And Neymar kind of got into one of those, once they got in the lead especially, Neymar got into one of his modes where he wanted to show off. Mm-hmm. He wanted to show he was so much better than everybody else. And when that happens, that really slows down what this Brazil team is capable of. The fact, I believe Neymar drew 10 fouls in that match, which is the most, I believe the second most all time of a single player to get. Switzerland did exactly what they needed to do. They took Brazil out of the game that they wanted to play, and they got it dirty. They kept it from flowing. And the thing is, Neymar could have prevented a lot of this if he had just moved the ball.
Yeah.
But no, he's out there trying to do step-overs and dribble past everybody. And there's a sentiment going around that with Neymar not 100%, Neymar not at his best right now, are Brazil better if Neymar doesn't play? Because this is a great damn Brazil team.
Yeah.
Without Neymar, this is a fantastic Brazil team. You can stick Willian had a really good match. Mm-hmm. You can stick him and Douglas Costa out on the wings, play Coutinho as the number 10, and Jesus and Firmino through the middle. That's a freaking potent attack.
Yeah.
And they'll score goals and they'll win matches. But I think Brazil are almost beheld to this thing where, well, Neymar's healthy. He's our best player. We've got to play him.
If you play him and lose, though. Or, I'm sorry, if you don't play him and lose.
Yeah. You will be second-guessed forever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But you're right.
TJ kind of finds himself in it's a catch-22 position because he might be sitting there just like we were thinking, man, my best team is actually with him not playing right now because he's not ready. Mm-hmm. But like you said, but if I don't play him and we lose, holy shit, they're going to fire me before I get on the bus.
Yeah.
So, it's a brutal position to be in. We're talented, but then you've got one guy who's just this ultra talent. Oh, man. Brazil had big questions, and then, of course, he lived off practice on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. He is not 100%. So, we'll see where they go with this, but, Brazil have big questions to answer. Even though they may still be the favorite of this tournament, they still have some big questions to answer. And
hey, they at least, again, the group does sort of open up for them. Again, with Costa Rica, they should be able to win that, get to 4 points. And then it's all about Serbia. If they can beat Serbia as well, they'll be going through no problem. But again, they a good showing against Costa Rica. And hey, maybe that's a match where you can think about not playing Neymar. Because that Brazil squad, other than that, if you take on Neymar, should be fine against Costa Rica, especially after what they showed against Serbia.
Yeah. And excuse my idiocy from earlier, Milinkovic Savic plays for Serbia.
Oh, yes.
Was I talking about him playing for Croatia earlier?
Yeah.
Well, hey, let's get him pissed off our Baltic fans. Croatia, Serbia, they're all the same, right?
Yeah, there you go.
No, wait, we fought an entire war through the 90s. Remember that?
Oh, the Balkan Islands have just been invaded.
Jesus God. Milinkovic Savic played for Serbia, was the great facilitator of everything they did. I don't think you can count Serbia out of this at all at this point.
No, absolutely not.
I think Serbia-Switzerland is probably the most important game in this group.
Yeah, because, I mean, if Serbia beats Switzerland and Brazil beats Costa Rica, then that's pretty much the group. And then Brazil just has to beat Serbia to try and win the group, but they'll almost be assured of going through at that point. So, yeah, and then
huge matchup coming up there.
Absolutely, big matchups coming up in Group F. Oh boy, Sweden and Mexico top the group with 3 points because this is the 2018 World Cup. Sweden with the 1-0 win over South Korea thanks to a penalty taken by Andreas Granqvist. Sure. And then
He's not Zlatan.
No. God, no.
Never forget, by the way, Zlatan was the first player on the field at the World Cup.
There you go.
For his visa deal.
That's all he has to take with him. The result of the tournament, I think it's fair to say right now, Mexico 1, Germany 0. Rodrigo Lozano with the goal in that one to win it. And, afterwards, Wes, I mentioned a little bit mental boom with France. It's not something I think we would normally talk about with Germany. But the way some of their players talked about after the match, I believe it was Mats Hummels, who actually came out and was basically like, well, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit here because I don't remember the exact quote, but basically like, well, if we have 9 guys going forward and attacking, that doesn't leave much room in the back, does it? And some people, I think, saw that maybe as a little bit of a knock against Kimmich and Josh Kimmich and Jerome Boateng. That's that Boateng.
Well, no, it was basically Hummels. It was the other fullback. They were bonding both fullbacks forward, straight up into the attack.
But and so Hummels comes out with this, which I think is also maybe a bit of a swipe at Joachim Low, which then we have to start thinking, has he maybe been there too long? I want to say he's been there since after the 2006 World Cup.
That's right, he took over for Clinton.
So he's been there over 10 years now, which is near an eternity in soccer years.
Especially for an international manager.
Yeah, so it's not something we really thought about going in, but Wes, with the result going this way, and hey, look, Germany could come out in their next match. Let me see, they have Sweden. They could beat Sweden. They could beat Sweden 3-0. Nothing against Sweden, but that could totally happen. But I don't think coming in Germany was supposed to have this kind of issue swirling about them, and them creeping up in match 1 is not a great sign for a title defense, which, by the way, I think the last 2 or 3 title winners have not made it past the group stage.
Right.
Didn't think Germany would continue it.
You look at Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Spain in the last one.
Italy in 2010.
And
France.
Before that was...
or no.
Brazil. No, not Brazil.
No, so it's just been the last 2, maybe.
That was the last 2,
yeah.
So. Irving Lozano, known as Chucky. Chucky Lozano,
and
plays
Germany.
for PSV, is now being connected with Barcelona.
Of course.
No, Irving Lozano was already a big name around the transfer market anyway. He's 22 years old. He's kind of been dubbed as the next great Mexican superstar. And this guy is on his way. This was the breakout, hello world, I'm Chucky moment. And Ed, I'm going to borrow one of my favorite liberalisms.
Okay.
Should have probably been 3 or 4.
Oh, God.
Mexico played about as perfect a match as they could have drawn up in this match.
Mm-hmm.
As Matt Hummels was speaking of, here was Germany bombing forward with 9 players, leaving Hummels and Boateng, who, by the way, are a very good center-back pairing.
Oh, yeah.
Neither of those guys are known at this point of their career for their speed.
Mm-hmm.
They're very good center backs. Obviously, they're the backbone of Bayern Munich. Those two are not known for their speed. And when you've got, God, if you looked at it, Mexico were playing deep to counter. They had 3 guys up around midfield. They had Lozano, they had Chicharito, and they would have another winger up there. And all they were looking to do was get that first pass and break.
Mm-hmm.
Germany dominated the possession of the time of this match, but Germany never really looked like they were going to do anything. Mexico probably should have had 2 or 3 goals in this match. I mean, they were at a point they could have and probably should have run Germany out of the building that night.
Mm-hmm.
Neuer came up with a couple of good saves, especially late on. Now, not to take anything away from Ochoa, the Mexican keeper, who apparently is only great at the World Cup.
Yeah.
You remember the last one, he made a great name for himself.
Mm-hmm.
But, he did make some really nice saves to deny the Germans. I'm not worried about Germany going through. I am now worried, though, about the distance that Germany can run in this World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that, and what really makes me nervous is the fact that almost came out after match 1 and was questioning the tactics.
Yeah, that's huge.
And even more than the result, the fact that, oh my God, a German player, basically I don't believe Hummels is the captain, but he could basically be considered one of the captains of this German team, came out and publicly was like, well, I don't know why the hell we're playing like this. That worries me more than anything.
Yeah.
Now I want to see, too, how your team low will respond to this. Because what Matt Hummels said was absolutely true.
Yeah.
And while Sweden may not have the playmaker that Mexico did, you've almost got to assume they're going to do something the same.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're gonna play to defend and try to hit them on the break now because they've seen, well, shit, they're susceptible on the break.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we're going to try to do. So, I mean, Germany should get out, but they've definitely got some questions there.
Yeah.
And now looking at the rest of the group, got to think, well, Mexico have a chance to win this group now, which does make it a more difficult road for Germany.
Absolutely. And, you say about Sweden, this is a Sweden team that did beat France in qualifications. So they can beat these quality teams. And like you said, if Germany doesn't fix what happened against Mexico, Sweden is, as you said, going to look at that tape and they're going to try to take advantage of it. They may not have the exact personnel to do it,
right,
but they're going to try. And, I mean, even if they just get a point, if they play to a 0-0 draw, that's, at this point, good enough for Sweden. So,
oh, man. Yeah, I mean, that puts them at 4. Let's assume Mexico beat
South Korea.
Let's assume Mexico beat South Korea and Sweden can get a point. Oh, Jesus. Now Germany's looking at, needing something to go their way.
Yeah.
Plus, having to beat South Korea shouldn't be the end of the world for them. But if they go into the third match with 1 point, all the pressure in the world will be on Germany at that point.
Big pressure going forward for a lot of teams. The teams in Group G, though, that we thought were going to go through have a little bit of the pressure reduced, thanks a little bit to some late heroics in each game. Belgium beats Panama 3-0. Panama looked really bad. Dries Mertens with a silky smooth goal in the 47th minute. And then Romelu, Dexter, Lukaku with 2 goals in the 69th and 75th minutes. Belgium gets all 3 points, although it did come out that apparently Eden Hazard had to question, we'll say, Lukaku and how well he was doing at the halftime of that match when it was still 0-0. So things are looking...
Belgium sucked in the first half of that match.
It's not good.
That was a true shit match in the first half.
But Belgium do get through. England, they left it late, but they did.
You put some respect on that name.
England.
England.
2-1 winners over
Oh my God, it was exhilarating.
Tunisia, as we like to say in England, apparently. Harry Kane put back in a rebound because, he's a tap-in artist. That's what he does. In the 11th minute, just put one in. England had been threatening so hard, if you can call what Raheem Sterling does threatening, but they were just peppering the goal. I think Henderson had a chance. Jesse Lingard had a chance to almost that just needed a great save to be put out, and England just looked like they were flying. And then Kyle Walker happened. Kyle Walker just ran his arm into a Tunisia player in the box, which gave them a penalty. Feryan Sassi came up and took it, and it was 1-1 going to the half. And it was, we suck again for England.
You're not shitting, dude.
But, in the 91st minute, off a Kieran Trippier corner, it was headed towards the back post, and who's there but that man, Harry Kane, to watch him whip. It almost gave me pain watching the replay of that. He puts it in with his head and just buries Tunisia. England gets the 2-1 win. And for a guy who, again, was, I don't want to say disappointing because the whole team was disappointing, but a lot was put on his shoulders at the 2016 Euros. He was very tired coming in, and he looked at that point, now coming in with England for this.
He played for a shithead named Roy Hodgson.
Yeah, he's got to take corners. Now he's not taking corners. He's just putting them in the net. Wes, I know you like to say England are shit, but man, at least they look young and fun now.
Sir, you're crazy. They're my favorite now.
Oh, excuse me.
I'm totally on. This is what you wanted, Ed. I'm on.
This is it.
I am on board.
The hopeless optimism. I love it.
We're winning the World Cup, baby.
Yes.
It's happening. We're winning the World Cup.
Yes.
And now we're not getting out of the group, but anyway. Man, if I said it about Mexico that they were Liverpool and shoulda, coulda, woulda, England should have been up 4 or 5-0 at that.
Oh yeah.
Without a doubt. We had a quick text back and forth. Now, folks, just to give you some impetus on this match, I had to go to my division director and basically beg him to let me watch this match during the day at work because we're supposed to have it on a news channel at all times. I said, well, sir, in all actuality, this is the biggest story in the world.
Yes.
Because this is the World Cup, the most watched sporting event on earth. And he laughed and said, as long as you don't, slip up your work, you can have it on. It's fine. So this is the only match I've been able to watch really this whole week due to work. I just about lost my shit about 15 minutes into it because, once again, we should have already had 3 goals on the board.
Yes.
The early one that was sent across to Raheem Sterling, where Raheem Sterling was like, oh, wait, I'm just not going to get my feet in any sort of a position to kick this ball. I'm just going to look like I play in a freaking Sunday league in Rocky Mount with the Mexican guys out by the airport. Jesus Christ, it was horrendous.
Yeah.
You and I had a back and forth quick chat about how terrible Raheem Sterling was and how, he needed to be dropped off a plane over Russia somewhere. Looking back on it, other than the fact that he can't finish anything, I mean, I don't think the guy can finish a sandwich at this point. Raheem Sterling was actually really good in this match.
He was fine. He just his fuck ups were really noticeable.
Exactly, and that's the thing with him is half the people wanted to kill him after the match. Damn, if you watch, he was really good. And I went back and watched a lot of it. his movement is good. He is such a threat because he's so damn fast. He had Tunisia all over the place. They didn't know whether to shit or wind their watch. And a lot of that was because of the movement from Raheem Sterling. The problem is he can't finish. I think he has a kid. I don't know how, because how can he finish in the goal? Jesse Lingard looked like it was the biggest game he'd ever played in, and he knew it. Mm-hmm. He was poor, even though once again his movement was pretty damn good. Mm-hmm. Lingard and Sterling just suffer from this thing where it's like, oh my god, I can shoot. Oh God, where's the ball going? But like you said, I mean, Harry Kane was right there. Harry Kane put in a captain-level performance. Yep. Underlooked, as I think that both those goals were, well, obviously they both came from corners, and both, I think, were set up off the head of Harry Maguire.
I think you're right, yeah. So the second one, definitely, yes.
Yeah, the second one, definitely. I want to say the first one was, too. I might be wrong on that. I thought Maguire came up and had a... no. It was John Stones on the first one.
Yeah.
Stones had the bullet header that was very well blocked, and then right into the path of Harry Kane, and then Maguire with the second one. The England back line, I'm telling you, I'm still fucking petrified of that England back line. Yeah. If Tunisia were able to, score goals in regular play, they probably might have had a few because, Maguire and Stones and Walker were just giving the ball away like they didn't want it anymore. Mm-hmm. England wants to play from the back. Jesus. They've got these guys that are supposed to be good playing out of the back, and unfortunately they're just not. And that's going to be really scary when they play a Belgium, or obviously when they play some of the better teams here. But for England, the best part of it was that this was an England team that, looked like they wanted to be here.
Yeah.
And that is, somehow, that's the shocking part about some of these England teams, is you get guys that's like, why the hell are you here? You don't look like you want to play in the world's biggest tournament. And it did not look like, even at 1-1, that the weight of the England shirt got to them. And that was huge, even with such a young team. And maybe it's because, as Michael Davis is calling them the babies, maybe the babies just don't understand that they're supposed to get uptight and nervous when they blow a lead. Mm-hmm. Maybe they just don't understand that part yet. But then also, Gareth Southgate, who I was kind of very impartial to that hiring. I was like, well, I know who else you would hire, I guess, at this point. I'm not really impressed with it. Gareth Southgate is giving this team basically the keys to the car and saying, go for it. Yeah, I think this England team understands the past, that in the past they've been so hyped up and everyone has been so on top of them, like, well, why aren't you winning? And for the first time in forever, this England team is they didn't go here with expectations. Yeah, they expect to get out of the group, but, no one expects England to go win this tournament. Other than me, of course, now. No one expects England to beat any of the big boys. So I think this team it's kind of like Southgate's been given this blank check, like, don't embarrass us, but we're not expecting that much from you. So Gareth Southgate is able to pick the team he wants, play the players he wants. He's not being told you have to put Gerrard and Lampard in midfield. Mm-hmm. You've got to get Scholes in there somewhere. You've got to play Rooney. I think a lot of that weight has been taken off of his shoulders, and he's able to go out and manage this team to go play hard, fast, aggressive football. And it's kind of like they've got this safety net where, well, no one really is expecting that much from us anyway. So let's just go out and have fun and play. And I saw that in England the other day. It was so refreshing. It was so refreshing to see. Well, it's one of the better England World Cup performances that I've seen in a long time.
Well, and to the way they play, I made the joke, a slight joke, I guess, because there was, I think, a ring of truth to it. When I texted you in our conversation, I I think that the Spurs players have been the best three players on the pitch today, in Dele Alli, Kane, and Kieran Trippier. And I think them and guys like Jordan Henderson, guys who play for Liverpool and the guys who play for City, they understand how to play this high attacking, high pressure sort of style that maybe England hasn't really done in the past. And I think that when you have guys who know that system, young guys who know that system, and that's what they've been playing them for their entire club season, then it's all right. Well, let's just go out and keep high pressuring people and force stuff.
Play fast.
Yeah.
Play fast and see what happens.
Yeah, and that's again, that first 45, they kind of trailed off a little bit in the second half, but that first 45, that was, yes, they need to be able to finish some of those chances, but they could have buried Tunisia. That could have easily been 6-7-1 at the half.
Right.
So I'm very impressed with England. I don't know what their ceiling is. I don't know if they're going to come back down because, again, it did take a 91st minute goal to beat Tunisia. Right. But yeah, I don't know. If there's a dark horse, it's, in the group where 4 years ago Belgium was the dark horse, all of a sudden England is kind of the dark horse of this tournament now, I think.
Well, and let me throw this in here. England could have won this match 5-0, 6-0. Do we almost feel, and we said this about Liverpool when they kind of went through that run in January, where, you knew Liverpool could blow teams out. We knew that would happen. We knew that could happen. But it was always, Jesus, don't put them in a dogfight because they'll shit the bed late.
Yeah.
And suddenly Liverpool won 2 or 3 matches where they were scoring late to win. Mm-hmm. And suddenly that gave that team belief going forward. If England had won 5-6-0, every English tabloid would be kissing their ass and suddenly calling them the favorite of the tournament. Mm-hmm. They go, well, now we've seen what you can do, so now you can never play better. We will not allow you to play less than this. Mm-hmm. I think that the fact that England left it late. Shut up, dog! They left it late. They scored that late goal. I think that gives them and the people and the English fans, it gives them belief that we're never dead.
Yeah.
And sometimes winning 2-1 and getting it late is better than just blowing somebody out where everything goes normal. Because, too, I think it shows to the England players, hey, we know if we just stay sharp for 90 minutes, we've got a chance to find something. Not where, hey, we're up 4-0 at halftime so we can just cruise to the second half. I think especially in a tournament like this, where it's not a long tournament. I mean, you're going to play at most, 7 matches? Mm-hmm. You've got to have that razor's edge. You've got to walk that razor's edge. And I think for England, the fact that they are on that edge now, that they got that win, I think this could actually focus them more than a big blowout win would have.
I agree 100%. I think this team, even though it was just Tunisia, I think they've now been battle tested, and there's now a never say die attitude in this team, and I think.
Oh my God, it's bloody good 66 again, baby. Woo!
Oh, the heartbreak will be strong. Let's move to Group H. No more talk of that. Happier things. Japan and Senegal lead this group, Wes. What?
I know you're excited. That's like anime.
Oh my God. Japan beat Colombia 2-1. Good old Shinji Kagawa making an appearance in this tournament. He had the opening goal for Japan, and then Yuya Osako had the winner in the 73rd minute. And then Senegal beat Poland in maybe somewhat-ish controversially fashion, with the second goal from Mbaye Hamadi Niang. He was kind of on the sidelines, and it looked like he was going to go out of play, but then the referees never brought him out, so he just kind of was on the sidelines, and he's like, okay, well, I guess I'm still on the pitch. I'll go chase after this ball, and then Poland's defense kind of fell apart, and Senegal was up 2-0. Poland did get a goal back through Gregor Skrichowiak. But yeah, Wes, all of a sudden, Poland and Colombia, two very strong teams, now sit both at 0 points, looking up at Japan and Senegal.
I think Poland's in a better place.
Yeah.
Even though they have already kind of played what should have maybe been the, quote, easiest team in their group.
Mm-hmm.
I think Colombia can bounce back. Poland looked old and slow and bereft of creativity.
Yeah.
I do not like Poland's chances going forward, especially because they're going to get a pissed off Colombia team.
Yeah.
I do not like Poland's chances going forward. I said Colombia. I think Colombia will be okay. I think Colombia were a little unlucky in that match. But yeah, Poland were shocking to me.
Well, they're going to have to pick it up because they do have Colombia next on June 24th. And if they don't get a result there, they're all but out of the tournament at that point. So they absolutely have to get a win, or at least a point.
Just hit a bases loaded, base clearing doublet, 6-6 in the 8th.
Oh, of course, I told you people. I told you all. You didn't.
And it's raining. Who knows what's about to happen?
Oh God. So that's your look at round one of the matches at the World Cup, plus a couple of the round two matches.
Yeah.
When next we talk, which is next week. Today is I don't have a calendar.
It's the 20th.
So on the 26th, we will next 27th. When we next talk, we will know everything but Group G and Group H, which means when next we talk, we might know if England is through already or not.
Yeah, there's a lot at stake over the next 7 days. I believe actually, you know us, Thursdays.
Yeah.
Thursday of next week is actually, I believe, the last day of play.
Yes, it is.
And so we will not get a chance to talk England-Belgium.
Nope.
We'll give you a little preview, I guess.
Sure.
But that'll be the last day of those, and then we'll go into knockout stages. And, geez Louise, are we going to do a 4th of July show?
Maybe. Maybe we'll do a July 3rd show.
Yeah, maybe we'll do July 3rd. I'll be home that night and get up the next one.
Well, and here will be the good thing. If we do a July 3rd show, July 3rd is the last 2 days of the round of 16. So
Perfect.
All of the round of 16 matches will have been played by the time we pod that night.
All right, so real quick, we're playing the July 3rd show.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Excellent.
All right.
So that's, again, going to do it for the World Cup. Matches every day, all day. If you're in Russia time, I guess. Otherwise, it's all in the morning. And maybe an afternoon match. But that is...
We're getting 8, 11, and 2. Man, that's really great. God, I cannot wait for Friday.
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Where I'll finally be off and can watch 8, 11
yeah.
all weekend.
Yeah.
And watch England on Sunday. So.
There you go. News and notes, not really much to talk about. Arsenal brought in a new goalkeeper in yes, from Bayer Leverkusen for £22.5 million. So that's a thing. James Madison, not the college. He's
the former United States president.
Yeah. He's going over to Leicester City from Norwich for £22.5 million.
I think he's a guy to keep your eye on. He was linked with some of the bigger clubs.
Mm-hmm.
Liverpool, Tottenham, Arsenal, those kind of teams. I think he's smart going to Leicester because he's probably going to walk right into that team.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a guy in a couple of years. I mean, he's probably a future England international. He's going to be a guy, if he develops like people think he should, in 2-3 seasons, those same big teams are probably going to be back in for him for a lot of money.
There you go. That will be, and we know Leicester likes to play the kids, so he'll be getting his chances. Yeah, especially if Mahrez still goes to Manchester City.
And Vardy can go somewhere too.
There you go. So that's news and notes. It was quick. Let's hit the watch for Wes. What are you watching besides the World Cup in the week that was or the week that will be?
Shit. watched him work all week.
Yeah.
I've worked a lot lately. Archer has had the season finale.
Oh, God.
Oh, Jesus. I think, unless you have something else, I think we can just talk about Archer for
Sure, why not? That's fun. That was going to be mine,
Oh, my
so.
God. We'll just do a dual watch for it was a very fun last episode.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love David Cross on that show.
A lot of cocaine.
David Cross is like, yes, I mean, he's Tobias Funke. He's Todd Margaret. We love these characters. But, man, is he not the most perfect, like, voice actor of all time?
He's really good, especially on Archer.
Maybe him and H. John Benjamin together, that's, like, mind-blowing when it comes to voice work. So David Cross and H. John Benjamin, they were fantastic in that final episode together. Chris Parnell and Cyril took it to another level. I love coked up Cyril.
It was really good.
When he was taking his mix of coke and methamphetamine. And then Mallory just looking for a bar everywhere. Yes. Is there a bar? Why would there be a bar here?
This looks like a bar.
This looks like a bar. And then I guess well, here's your spoiler alert. So 3, 2, 1. Pam is knocked into the lava pit, and as Cyril is going to finish her off, Archer knocks him out of midair in his robot suit.
Because of course.
And the next thing we see is Archer, Pam, and Cyril, like, all hanging by a hand. It looks like Archer has outsmarted Cyril, but Cyril then grabs Archer's leg on the way down. So Archer does the most un-Archer thing of all, which is sacrifice his own life.
Yeah.
To save Pam. So, I mean, we're already going, what the hell, as Archer going into the lava pit. Of course, he has to tell Lana how they almost nailed.
Yeah.
How he almost banged her. And then his last words were so close.
It's close.
And then he hits the lava, and you're like, oh my God, what the hell? And then I'll let you take us into what I'm guessing this next season is.
I hope so at this point. So obviously, as soon as Archer hits, cut to black, and then we start seeing little white dots appear on the screen. You're like, okay, maybe this will be like the sky or something on the island. They're looking at night, whatever. And then you start to see what looks like a spaceship going across the sky. And then just very slow pans throughout the entirety of this very futuristic spaceship. There's one shot where it looks like you can see a reflection of someone walking around. Not sure who it was, but because the reflection's not very good, but you do see movement of someone. And then we start panning over these life pods as they... Oh, I'm sorry. We see the name of the ship, which I believe is the something Seamus, which of course was the name of Archer's kid from way back when. Life pods start getting booted up on screen, and then we see the cut to the life pods with our main cast name on the sides of each one, and then the last one is Archer's, and he wakes up and talks to Mom Ball of Energy, and it's so weird. As I told you, never been this shook since Infinity War.
So long ago.
I was a bit speechless. I didn't expect it to ever hit that point, and so now I don't know I think my biggest question is, are we going to get something that is going to tie the entirety of the show together, and why the last 2 seasons have been noir and this jungle island pre-World War II, and now space apparently? Or is this just, now we want to do space? I don't know.
I mean, there's so many questions, and there's so good.
Like what?
The Archer, I may wonder what's going on sometimes, but I don't doubt the Archer writing team.
Yeah.
Because they're so tight and so on point with what they want to do.
Like,
and I mean, we've already been told this is the final season coming up.
Yeah.
You know, they're looking to go out on a high note, and not with declining ratings, but with people going, "Holy shit, what's happening?"
Yeah.
And I mean, we're getting a complete change of everything, and it's kind of like you said. You know, what is this? I mean,
was the island a simulation, and when he died, he just woke up?
Exactly, or is this all part of, you know, a coma that he's in the modern time on the show?
Yeah. Or
is this all going to come out that everything they've done has been like a simulation, and now the space is the actual reality? I mean, there's so many things you can question here. Yeah. And it's Archer. It's so good. I really hope we get more than 8 episodes next season. I hope we at least get 10. But I have no idea where they're going to go, man.
I don't know either.
I mean, what we saw from the last 90 seconds of this show could finally tell us everything.
Yeah, every answer.
Yes, we'll get every answer in 90 seconds, and then we'll be left with Archer like cutting a joke or farting or something, or Pam farting, and that's gonna end the show.
Also, the end credits taking on the space style was
yes.
I legit shook. So
crazy, man.
I enjoyed it.
I thought it was great.
I never expected Archer to end a season of Archer to end on that kind of a cliffhanger. I knew they would do cliffhangers. I didn't know they would do that kind of a cliffhanger, though. So, props to him. I'm excited for the final season. I can't wait to see how this is all connected and what the hell's going on. Speaking of what the hell's going on, Wes, let's cap off the show and get sober off.
Of course, it was pay-per-view weekend. Do not hate me. I have yet to see NXT TakeOver. Due to work. Everything that killed me this weekend was due to work. I switched the day and had to work Saturday night and haven't really caught up on shit since. So, yeah, I can't tell you what happened on NXT. But I will tell you, Money in the Bank was, wow, that was a damn good pay-per-view. WWE are getting to the point where they will kill you for 6 weeks with shit Raw. And then everything will, like, pan out at the pay-per-view. I can't decide if this is good or bad. I mean, I'm very happy to be having good pay-per-views. I'm very unhappy to have to sit through 6 weeks of shit, though, to get to them. Oh, me. Big matches on the night. AJ Styles retained the WWE title in a last man standing match against Nakamura. God, it was good. It was finally, to me, Styles and Nakamura living up to what they could be.
Good.
Now, I did not see SmackDown last night, so I can't tell you if that ended the feud going or what. I'm sorry about that. Hopefully next week I'll have you more answers. But, so other than that, Asuka challenged Carmella for the the SmackDown Women's title. And while everything in the book pointed that Asuka should win this going away, I had a feeling you were going to get a schmopped in, and that's what we got with the return of James Ellsworth.
Oh, boy.
The no-chin human himself comes to strats Asuka, and Carmella gets the victory. Oh, my God, this is a huge pitch in this game. Top of the 8th, bases loaded, 3-1 count, 2 outs. Carolina, Oregon State tied at 6. Ellsworth comes back. Carmella retains. Real quick, before we do the Raw Women's title match, first we have to talk about the second ever Women's Money in the Bank match, which was, God, it was really good. It was a really good match. Really, I thought surpassed last year's match. You had Sasha Banks, you had Charlotte, you had Becky Lynch, Natalya, Naomi, one more, I can't remember, and Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss ends up winning it, which if you saw my Twitter, Carolina just walked in the go-ahead run.
Of course they did.
They suddenly cannot throw strikes. Bliss wins it. If you saw my Twitter, I was thrilled because I was really looking forward to months of Alexa Bliss carrying around the Money in the Bank contract. Money in the Bank is perfect on a bad guy. You know, giving Money in the Bank to someone like John Cena or a good guy, to me, that's a waste of Money in the Bank, because the great part about Money in the Bank is cutting the promos and being a sneaky asshole and coming when, you know, I mean, is the hero going to ride in on a horse? His opponent is completely already beaten down and take advantage of him? No, a hero wants a fair fight. I'm John Cena, and I just want a fair fight, by God. So Alexa Bliss winning it, I was so excited because she's the best, man. She's such a shithead heel. And she's beyond gorgeous, beyond belief. But also she just has that attitude that she'd be perfect with it. So real quick, now let's jump to the Women's Raw Championship match. Nia Jax versus Ronda Rousey. Really, really hype match. It was Ronda Rousey's first ever singles match. So we're going to get a chance to see, you know, is Ronda Rousey just a name from UFC, or can she carry herself? The verdict is in. Ronda Rousey was fantastic.
Ooh.
She is really, really good in the ring. Now, where Ronda Rousey, you know, has her issues is, you know, she's not great on the microphone. She's not a great communicator. She does have some issues still to work out. But, man, when it is go time in the ring, Ronda Rousey is magnificent. And she proved on the night. She worked from underneath. Nia Jax got some really good offense in. And she actually had two moments where she picked up Nia Jax. Nia Jax runs about 270 pounds. I mean, she is a monster. Ronda Rousey was a bantamweight. I mean, this is a girl who fought at, like, you know, around 120. So she picked up someone twice her own body weight and dropped her with suplexes twice. Super, super impressive. And just as it looked like Ronda Rousey gotten her world-famous armbar on Nia Jax, oh my God, out of nowhere, Alexa Bliss showed up with the briefcase, incapacitated Ronda Rousey, beat the hell out of her with the briefcase, beat the hell out of Nia Jax with the briefcase, and Alexa Bliss cashed in Money in the Bank, immediately took out Nia Jax's knee, went to the top rope, twisted Bliss, 1, 2, 3, and for the 5th time, Alexa Bliss is the women's champion. And it was a magnificent cash-in because, once again, she's the perfect person to do that. You know, you wait till the champion is almost dead on their feet, and then you run in. You know, she immediately caused the disqualification for Rousey, but who gives a crap? All she wanted to do was get that title shot. She got it. She walked out with the belt, and now we have Alexa Bliss back with the title on Raw. She's a great champion because, once again, she's so good verbally, and she's a really good heel champion having that belt. We had a showdown. Probably the best segment of Raw Monday night was the opener between her and Ronda Rousey, where Rousey beat the shit out of her. But she sat there and said, you know, why do you think you had one match, you lost. You know, get at the back of the line, sweetheart. So there's something there, and Alexa Bliss is money. She is money for that division. And I think she's a great champion. I was super hyped for the cash-in. Now to end the night, the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. I'm just hitting the big matches of the night. Don't care about the range match. It turned out to be a really good Money in the Bank match. It was brutal. It was hurtful. Guys were flying all over the place. I thought Kevin Owens was dead a couple of times, which are always fun to see. You had in that match, you had Kevin Owens, you had Finn Balor, you had Bobby Roode. Kofi Kingston represented New Day in the match. Who am I forgetting? Oh, God. The Miz was in the match. I thought Miz was going to be the favorite to win it. Miz was in the match. Samoa Joe was in the match. And as usual, I'm forgetting one person. And Braun Strowman.
There you go.
Who's the greatest human being on earth? We've discussed this for months now. He's my favorite person on earth. and Braun Strowman got up the ladder and got the Money in the Bank. So now the most terrifying, destructive force in wrestling has Money in the Bank and has already said he's coming after Brock Lesnar. Now, how they do this, because see, here you've got the opposite of what you do with the women. If you did the same thing you did with the women that I like, The Miz would have Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the snotty heel who is always looking for that little opportunity. But instead, now you've given it to the baddest dude on the roster. You've given him Money in the Bank. He has had a match with Brock Lesnar, which he was successful at, but was very, very good in. How do you do this is the question. I don't think that you need Braun Strowman cashing in on a random Raw on Monday night in November, just winning the belt off Brock Lesnar. Does he use it to challenge Brock Lesnar to a match where he wins it? Or, you know, ideally, you put the title on him next year at WrestleMania. Do you wait that long and let him carry it? There's so many questions here on what to do with Braun Strowman. Here's the thing with Braun Strowman. He's going to be at the top of the mountain. It's just a matter of when, not if. So now you've got some extra options with him carrying the briefcase. But all in all, very good match. We're starting to set up some new things on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. One big piece of news this week, Big Cass, who fought Daniel Bryan at Money in the Bank on Sunday night, was outright released on Monday. Released from his contract. And this is the guy who, you know, now over the last, a year ago at this time, Enzo and Cass were one of the hottest tag teams in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And a year later, they've both been released. So a lot of things coming back. That Cass recently on an international tour basically stayed drunk through the entire tour, was belligerent. They've had some, you know, he's kind of gone off script some lately, trying to do some things. They've warned him about it. He's done it anyway. So Cass is gone. Now, that said, I can see Big Cass being a guy who in 2 or 3 years returns to WWE if he goes and really makes himself better, markets himself well, does a lot of things. Somebody like a Drew McIntyre, like Jinder Mahal's done. I can see him being back because, once again, Vince McMahon loves big guys, and the dude's like nearly 7 feet tall. There's a chance he'll be back, but he's got work to put in. So that was kind of a little stunning news on Monday. I don't think anybody in the world expected that. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up with that. That is this week's So Raw.
And that will be this week's.
That was a heck of a pod.
Yeah, it was big talks, big talks. Not just about the World Cup, but about Archer as well, and as well as the latest going ons and the Money in the Bank cash-ins. Gotta cash in those resets, boys. But that's gonna do it for episode 216 of the Foreign Affair podcast. We'll be back next week to tell you about just about everything that has happened in the group stage of the World Cup, except for like 2 groups' final matches, but that's okay. So there's plenty of time, plenty of matches to go out and watch, and a lot of twists and turns still left to come. One more time, we are sponsored by NGSC Sports at ngscsports.com. We never stop. You can find them on Twitter. You can also find us on Twitter at AFAPod is our collective. Wes, you are?
I'm at Wes Bradshaw 21.
I am at Edward Green. You can also find us on YouTube, youtube.com/The All New Sports Show. All our podcasts are uploaded there. As you can email us questions and comments to allnewsportshow@gmail.com. Big thanks to our podcast providers, including Podbean.com, Stitcher, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, the TuneIn Radio app, the Google Play Music Store, and iTunes Music. So like I said, we'll be back next week for another big podcast of World Cup coverage. But until then, Wes, do you have anything else you want to add?
We are in the bottom of the 8th. North Carolina got their lead bunted into second at 7-6 Oregon State. Folks, you got to love the College World Series, even though the weather is playing havoc on it this week.
It's crazy.
God, it's still fun. We do love our college baseball.
We really do. And this, with the World Cup going on at the same time, is a pretty magical set of events.
And no NFL and no NBA going.
Hell yeah.
And
So
no hockey. Oh, God.
yeah, hockey's okay. So for my colleague in crime, Wes Bradshaw, I'm Edward Green. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Afford Fair podcast. We'll catch you guys next week. Until then, stay safe and enjoy the football.
Love the football, folks. And good night, England. We deserve sleep because we're going to win the cup.
There you go. No sleep till Montana. There you go.
You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on NGSCSports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.